You Really Got Me by the Kinks. This riff is another sliding power chord riff, so you will now be used to using the skills you learned in the earlier Black Sabbath riff. That's assuming that you've already tried the Black Sabbath Iron Man riff. I'll put a link below if you haven't tried it. It might well be worth you giving that one a go just to get started before trying this one, because there's an extra challenge in this one that I would say is over and above the Black Sabbath riff. In this one, the chords are notated as 3-string power chords. In the Black Sabbath riff, we were looking at 2-string power chords, so we're using a slightly bigger chord, using an extra finger to play the chords. It goes on to say, if you find the 3-string power chords tricky, just drop the note on the D string and focus on playing 2-string power chords on the E and A strings. So, waffle aside, that's saying sort of build the chords up slowly, rather than trying to play, if you haven't done so already, 3-note power chords at once. I'm going to take it a step further than that, so rather than starting with the 2-note power chords, I'm going to start with just one finger, the first finger, getting used to moving that around in the correct place, and then we'll add the other notes later. And to me, that's probably the simplest way to get around this riff. In the Black Sabbath riff, it was quite a bit slower, but we were sliding quite a distance up and down the neck. So, as an example, I think one of the bits of the riff was. So we're sliding down with 4 or 5 frets or so down there. This riff is only played across 2 frets, so we've only got a little 2-fret distance to slide, but with the speed of it and the accuracy that's needed to have your hand in the right place at this speed is the challenge for this riff, that's slightly above the other ones. So as I say, starting with just one finger, if you look at the tab, just take the E string, the 6th string, forget all the other strings to begin with. We'll start on the 1st fret of the E string, the 6th string, which is an F note, with no hand position play here, so we're sliding, we're moving everything. So we're not going to be riffing with our fingers. We're just going to use the chord and move it up and down eventually. So again, starting with the 1st fret note on the E string. Our first job is to play that and slide it up to the 3rd fret. And then we're going to hit that note again. The next part of the riff is just to play the same thing again, the 1st fret up to the 3rd fret, but just don't hit it again. We're going to silence it, mute it at the end. So. Get used to playing that. It is it's one of those things where it's literally just a case of practice. We're only playing one finger. Essentially, we're only playing one note. We're just moving it around. The key, I would say, is probably, because of the speed of it, is stopping at the right place up on the 3rd fret. So making sure that we're hitting the right target area. We're not going too high up, or we're not going too not up enough. So it's just a case of getting comfortable, sliding between the 1st fret and the 3rd fret, just with that 1st finger to start with. Once you've got that motion, it's time to start adding on the other notes in the chord. Same as the Black Sabbath riff, starting again at the 1st fret. I'm going to start with playing the 2-note power chord. So my first note is going to be what I've just played, the 1st fret, and down on my A string I'm going to play the 3rd fret on the A string, and I'm going to use my 3rd finger to play that. So I'm playing those 2 notes together. Again, it's all about the accuracy. Do it as slow as you need to do it, but make sure that you're accurate. make sure that you've got that down with the 2 fingers before moving on to the final version, which is a 3-note power chord using 3 fingers. So when I'm ready to build up to the gap, I'm going to start again in the on the 1st fret down here. I was playing those 2 notes to begin with. I'm going to add the final note on there. I'm going to use my 4th finger, my pinky, to play the 3rd fret on my D string and my 4th string. So individually, the notes that I'm playing are going to be 1st fret on my E string, 3rd fret on my A string, and 3rd fret on my D string. Together, we've got a 3-note power chord being played across those top 3 strings there. Again, because we're adding something new, we might find that it's difficult to move our hand, so concentrate on playing it slowly and getting the slide accurate between this position and the next chord, which is at the 3rd fret. In this instance, the chord names are F and G. Actually F5 and G5, but we can call them F and G. So perhaps even before you start the sliding bit on this one, make sure that you're happy with those 2 positions. Even if you have to strum them to get used to playing them, you want your hand to stay in the same shape, your fingers not bunched together or stretch out by moving it. There's a few things to bear in mind. If you're clamping on too tightly onto the guitar, really squeezing it and giving it the Charles Atlas press, then you're going to find it difficult to actually move at all. You're going to be forcing the issue. Likewise, on the other end of the spectrum, if you're not pressing on hard enough, the chords will sound fluffy, a bit like your normal root chords or open chords. If you're not putting enough tension, enough pressure on the strings, they're not going to sound right, and when you move it, it'll just fluff. So that's not going to be right either. So it's just a case of practicing it until you get that comfortable zone, that comfortable spot, a bit like the muting on one of the other videos. Just a case of feeling your hands to be able to do it. So with the 3 notes, enjoy.